Hello everyone, welcome to Introduction to Machine Learning, Learning Activity 1, Mechanics of Python lecture. We're going to go ahead and jump into what we're going to focus on in the lab. We're going to cover like high level what it is we're going to go, which is Mechanics of Python. We're going to cover the basics, talk about what a Python program looks like, what basics of a Python program, as well as beyond the basics in terms of what more complicated Python programs look like. So in the lab, we'll do an overview of exactly that, give you a feel and a flavor for what that looks like. And then one other thing that we're going to do is teach you how to capture user input because it's very helpful for us when we're learning how to use Python. It's very useful to have that user input function. So we'll go through that on the lab, but for now, let's do a quick run through on the lecture, show you what Python looks like. So here's the basics. A basic Python program has the following. We've got comments, which you've seen already, variables, which you've also seen already in the idea of a simple hello world program that we had created in the last learning activity, which was the 0-0 learning activity, just getting started. And then there's operators, which are these things that you see here, this equal sign. So my list equal to, and then that's a list. And that equal, that's what's called an operator. If you look in the Python program over here, you've got equal. So we're taking 1.5 and writing that number or that data into this variable. Same with this. This is what is called an assignment operator, this equal sign. And then we're taking these two numbers here and we're using an arithmetic operator, which is actually what they call a polymorphic operator. This plus sign can actually do multiple things, so it can be used to calculate two numbers by adding them together, or it can also be used to concatenate. And in the hello world, we use the plus sign to concatenate strings or glue the strings together. In this case, we're using a plus sign to add two numbers, and then we take the output of the number 1 plus number 2, and we add that in, and we take the result of that and add it into the sum. And so here's some formatting, some fancy formatting that's done to make that look nice. The sum of 0 and 1 is, so this is variable assignments that string assignments that line up these num1, num2, and the sum into a format and passes it into the string. So that's all that's doing here, but we'll learn more about that. But these are basic Python programs. That's what a basic Python you can do quite a bit actually with just comments, variables, operators, and data structures. In this case, there's a data structure on the left, which is this list that's showing, this alphabetic list, programiz, and that's programs. And so that's a list, and then there's ways to access that list, and that's a basic data structure. And you'll see a lot of programs, basic Python programs, just use that. So there's a lot you can do with just that. Okay, beyond the basics, this is a Python program used to create a deck of cards. In this case, we have code libraries. So if we're going to go beyond the basics of Python, and for what we're going to be doing in Python, we've got code libraries, which you see this modules. They're called modules. So we use an import feature within Python to import libraries that help us. They're code libraries, and they make life easier for us, so we don't have to write things by hand in like native Python or native C in some cases. So here it's a big time saver, but in this case, we make a deck of cards. We use iter-tools as an iteration. It's a tool set for iterating on data sets. In this case, the iter-tool is being used to create a range of cards. In this case, don't worry about everything that's going on here. We'll teach you all this stuff. This is just an example of what's going on, and it is going to be very different from what you saw in SQL. This is a very SQL is a very different type of language than Python. So it's going to have a different flavor, of course, by looking at it already, right? So then we've got this random shuffle, and then it shuffles the deck, and then we have a for loop here, and that's control flow. So this is a basic Python program that it is basic, but it uses some stuff that's beyond the basic, which is code libraries, control flow, There's also comprehensions. There's list comprehensions. There's also things called classes, methods, functions, lambdas. There's all kinds of fun stuff here. We also have inheritance, casting, regular expressions. You saw some iterators here, or iter tools that we use, matrices, and yeah, there's a lot. Python is a very, it's a beast. But the good news is it's easy to learn the basics. But when you scale it up, it can be quite it can be daunting. And just as an FYI, not everyone. There's people that spend their years and years just learning how to program in Python in a specific area, and that doesn't mean that one Python developer understands what another Python developer is doing, because it is so domain dependent in a lot of cases that even though you both might be speaking Python in terms of Python language, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll understand each other. And it's kind of the same in the industry, right? So you could have someone that's speaking English in the healthcare arena trying to talk up to someone else that's speaking English in, let's say, the finance arena, and the language is just so different, even though you both are just the lingo, the terminology, they're so different. That's just a thing to be on the lookout for, because that does happen in the Python world, that you'll get so specialized in a specific area, that, for example, people that do Python development and do machine learning engineering, that they it's a different skill set. It's a different set of modules than someone who might just do front end app development, right? So that's just kind of shows the power of the programming language that is Python too. So, okay, let me see. I think that's all we've got for our lecture. It's just a quick lecture. We ran through a basic Python program, two of them, and then something a little bit more complicated. Still a basic Python program, but just the high level construct. So with that, we're going to actually jump into actually building Python programs, and instead of just doing Hello World and something like that, and getting the actual mechanics of how to build a Python program. Okay, I am done here. I will see you in the lab.